Hello racers! Today we will be talking about rules and interactions between cards. We chose few that are often misplayed or are really interesting. And the first one is the one that is really important for us, so it's PoDamon and Traitorous.
Yeah. So the way how those two cards work is that if let's say you have Poe on the field, the opponent plays Traitorous on one of your units, then you can choose the unit that was stolen with Traitorous as a target of attack with Poe, and then you can choose to discard one of your cards to destroy the upgrade. You destroy Traitorous, and at that point the attack is basically cancelled. So the unit comes back to you, and they don't deal damage to each other. It's especially relevant when the opponent steals one of your sentinels. So something like a home-based defender. Yeah, the card that you can see on the screen. And yeah, that's I feel like that's the most common use case for this interaction where it really matters. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, you have the confirmation from the comprehensive rule where it's stated that it works like that.
Yeah. And later we will have confirmation mostly from the Twitter account for the FFG stuff about some interaction that were not mentioned in comprehensive rules. And nextly we will be talking about Lurking TIE Phantom. So this is the card that at the beginning caused a lot of problems for people because it's not really stated cleanly. But the gist is that he can't be captured, damaged, and defeated by enemy card abilities. But in the case of Power of the Dark Side or Cat Bane's ability, he still can be chosen by the card. He will just not receive any negative effects. So if your opponent plays a Dark Power of the Dark Side and you have Lurking TIE Phantom, you can just choose Phantom to be destroyed, but he ignores that effect and remains on the board, so your opponent will just lose the card. For the other effects, like Defeat, for Vanquish, Takedown, or Rival's Fall, he will just cannot be destroyed, so he will just be immune to those. The same goes for Super Laser Blast, or Open Fire, or any effect that captures, like Take Captive. But you still can remove him by effects that lowers the stats of a unit, like Make an Opening or Snook. You can tap him forever with Frozen in Carbonite. You can still steal him with Traitorous. Any bounce effect will work on him, so Waylay, Cunning, and the only damage ability that will work on TIE Phantom is Forced Lightning, because Forced Lightning will first remove the immunity and then deal damage to kill him. And now I will just be showing quickly you the post from Tyler Parrott. He's one of the FFG staff members that clarifies a lot of rules on X. And he clarified the rules that I've showed you in the previous slide. Yeah, and next.
Yeah, next we have Unrefusable Offer with Super Laser Technician. So when let's say you have Technician, the opponent plays Unrefusable Offer on your Technician, then let's say the Technician dies on your round, and those two effects technically take place at the same time. And yeah, so you can, if it's your turn, basically the active player determines the order in which those effects take place. So if you kill the Technician on your round, then you can choose to resolve first the when defeat of Technician in order to place him as your resource. And in that case, the bounty doesn't really work because the opponent can't play that unit for free since it's not in the graveyard or whatever. And it works also the same way for the opponent. If they are the active player and they kill the Technician on their round, they can choose to resolve bounty first, take the Technician from you, and in that case you don't get the when defeat of Technician at all. So yeah, it's really important to have to be the active player when this trigger happens.
Yeah. Okay. And now there is a really not really often used card, so Starving Gunship, but this card has really cool interaction that may be really important in the future. So Starfighting Gunship can attack units in the ground arena, even though he is a space unit. And if your opponent have sentinels in the ground, he can basically he will basically not care about them. But if they have sentinels in space, he will need to attack that sentinel in space, unless your opponent has sentinel in space and in ground. Then you can choose what sentinel you want to attack. So this is a really not easy interaction to get, but it's basically how the sentinel is worded, and because of that, sentinels in ground are not really an issue for Starfighting Gunship. And nextly we have
Ink Officer. So this one is pretty straightforward. You reveal 3 resources of the opponent. If there are any smuggles, they replace those smuggle cards with the top cards of their deck. And the important part about this card is that those resources that enter play from the top deck are exhausted. So basically, whenever you get a resource from some sort of effect, some cards like resupply, like the officer in this case, those resources are always exhausted unless it's specifically says on the card otherwise, like in case of Super Laser Technician, who specifically says that he enters on your resource as a ready card. So yeah.
Yeah, I can also add that in any point of the game you can shuffle your resources, but you can never change their orientation. So if a resource is depleted, and you have more than one depleted resource, you can shuffle them when your opponent plays Scanning Officer, but you can never exchange a tapped resource with an untapped resource, because this is changing the state of the card, and this may violate the rules, and your opponent may call a judge to give you a warning for play like this. Okay, and nextly we have really weird interaction, because if you have a Rook and you use shoot first to attack enemy minion that have more than 4 HP, the Rook will still receive damage, even though he says, when this unit deals combat damage to a non-leader unit while attacking, defeat the unit. And he will still receive the damage because this resolution only takes place after the damage of an attack. And this is confirmed by Tyler, that any combat has a 3 resolution windows. And even though the wording states that he should be killing the unit and not receiving any damage back, but his ability will always be triggered at the end of combat. So he will always receive the damage unless the unit has less than 4 HP to be killed with only his attack, not his ability.
Yep.
And lastly...
Lastly, we have Bosk and the case in which Bosk dies during the attack. So Bosk allows you to collect the bounty twice, but if you attack with Bosk or a unit with a bounty attacks Bosk and Bosk dies during that attack, you are not allowed to collect that bounty twice, because Bosk is considered to be out of the game when the bounty is resolved. Yeah. Because the combat damage is dealt before you collect the bounty.
Yeah, so basically the cards leave play before the bounty is collected. And all the confirmations we got from the GitHub, I will be linking it in the description. There is a lot of more cases and cool interactions there to be looked at. And I hope that anybody that was watching found a new interaction that they didn't know about. And if there is a really cool interaction that you don't know how it works, please post it in the comments. I will try to understand and even ask in the judge Discord if this is something that is really weird. Yeah, so thanks everybody.